lot of people close to me thought like another prep was not gonna be in the cards for me. I think it goes to show like, this is the best physique, this is the most muscle, this is the best the most focused I've ever been during a prep. And there's more going on in the background than ever.
What's up guys, Derek, MorePlatesMoreDates.com. Today we're going to be talking about Christian Guzman. This is one of the most veteran of the OG fitness YouTubers. He's been around since, I don't know, probably as far back as you can remember for the fitness industry when it comes to YouTubers who are, you know, vlogging daily content, showing their contest preps and stuff. The guy has been I don't know, at the forefront of trailblazing the content creation side of shit for a minute now. And recently he's had a pretty wild transformation. He just posted this today, my anabolic 2-month transformation in all caps. Before shot, after shot, looking pretty fucking nuts, indifferent. Now, notably though, every year he basically does this thing called summer shredding. He prepares for a competition, he gets shredded. Regardless of how out of shape he got during the year, he is pretty regimented about each year, you know, trying to come in stage condition to, you know, it's kind of like a tradition at this point on his channel. And he's been, you know, logging it this year, and he's actually reached his best shape of all time. He actually is so good, he just updated his fucking profile picture. You know, you got to get in like immaculate goddamn shape to actually consider like the new profile pic, bro. Like this guy obviously is happy with his progress, and you know, I'm not surprised because he looks sick, dude. Like this is wild where he was just like a few months ago compared to now. And this is the transformation for 10 years ago versus now. So this is, I don't know, his first, let's see, competing in my men's physique competition. Presumably this is a caption from like Facebook or something. Probably his first competition. And then here he is at 29 years old, 10 years later. Looking juicy as fuck, bro. And when you just go back just a few months, you know, like he's obviously looking insane now. Like I said, you see this, you know, the graininess, the capness, the delt fucking tie-in separation, looking awesome. And he is almost, I think he's 3 weeks out at this point. But if you go back not that far back on his Instagram, he was looking a lot fluffier because he had not started the cut yet, and somehow he has managed to recomp very significantly because his current weigh-in, that's what we're going to get into here, and we're going to compare it to some of his previous bests and kind of, I don't know, gives us some insight into, you know, is this actually natural or not? Because somehow he has managed to, despite being the most busy work-wise that he's ever been, pulling all-nighters self-admittedly and doing the most suboptimal things from a sleep hygiene lifestyle perspective, now that he's dialed in for a few months, he somehow surpassed all of his previous best physiques and shit on them quite significantly. So we'll get into the stats soon, but it's like, it's pretty staggering how much progress he's making this time compared to others.
Thing to go over. On May 25th, I hit my lowest weight of the entire prep, 182.8. Okay, and that is also the day that I started my higher carb refeed days.
182 as of recent.
The macros for those refeed days: 200 protein, 420 grams of carb, 42 fat. Right now,
man, this hoodie's got like the mean death face coming in, like the grim reaper of fucking shreds is coming, dude.
I'm on a day-to-day check-in with Alex, my coach. So I'm sending him my weight every day, photos, video, whatever he needs, first thing in the morning, and we're literally making adjustments. Like I was only supposed to do that high carb day once, but if you look, my weight has been kind of stabilizing within like 1 to 2 pounds of that low weigh-in. So after the 420 carb, May 26th, 184.2, and then May 27th, 185.2. I thought I was gonna maybe go back down after that 185, but this morning, 183.8, and that's 3 days of the high carbs. So he actually gave me another day today at 420 grams, because now that today's my rest day, it's gonna be a good indicator of how my body's actually like processing the increased food and how it's handling it without a training day, without sweating in the gym, without like having this higher activity. So we'll see what happens tomorrow morning. But I'm gonna show you guys my physique here at 3 weeks out. Got some Batman on the background. Epic as shit. here we are.
So here he is in natural lighting, not even down lighting, and you can see how dialed he is. And you have to keep in mind relative proportionally to previous summer shreddings, like, you know, what was his weight at this exact same time point? Show you in a sec. Is that copyrighted? Who fucking knows, dude? But I am not risking it. Get that dialed in horseshoe showing. He's got these striated delts popping. He's got a lot more back mass. You know, this rear delt lat spread here. Pretty fucking mean, dude. All right, so we are going to go look at some of his previous best in, you know, the past years and kind of compare and see how realistic it is for you to have, I don't know, this progress in general. Like, how impressive is it really? How committed is he on this one versus the other ones? And we'll kind of compare and contrast. So this was last year, raw update, check-ins and self-reflection.
Things I'm doing different this year that I honestly just wish I would have done sooner, because I'm realizing how much of a difference they're making in my approach to this prep.
So keep in mind, here he is 184.7 compared to the like low 180s that he is now. Quite a staggering difference in the physique. Like, he's fucking dialed here versus here, he's still like really soft.
In my mood and my excitement for, I guess, like fitness in general, to be.
And this is just 1 year ago, keep in mind. So since this point, he's been, you know, grinding his fucking face off. He came out with, you know, he's had the Alpha Land launch. He's been, you know, pulling all-nighters. He's been working his goddamn ass off. And that's awesome, but certainly not the most conducive to, you know, making progress in a expedited time frame. So this is kind of like, you know, wild to me to see the same body weight pretty much with wildly different body composition outcomes after doing this for years on end.
To be honest, I'm honestly like at an all-time high of motivation, of like just excitement again to get in the gym, to follow my macros, to do these physique updates and get my weigh-ins and kind of like share everything with you guys. I know I'm not pumping out videos, you know, every day like I did a few years back, but I promise you guys, like mentally and physically, I am like in this year. And honestly, looking back at previous years, like I feel this year I'm doing this for me in a way that's unique, because I think that I needed this prep. And what's funny is I didn't think I could handle it with everything kind of going on with the building of.
So he's fucking lean, don't get me wrong, he looks great, but this is a much different like 183 than in the video we just saw that was posted today, of course. Now, moving into a literal exact same day, 3 weeks out of June 3rd, 2019. So this is the year prior to that, and this was presumably before stuff really started to get hectic when it came to, you know, pulling all-nighters and, well, I don't actually know, to be honest. Maybe he was already doing that, but the lifestyle that is like the total opposite of conducive to health, vitality, body composition, etc. Like, this was presumably the summer before everything went like full board into work and he started going like hibernation mode on YouTube and whatnot. I could be wrong on that, but either way, like, this is kind of representative of the longitudinal progression of his physique and where his weight kind of stood when he got this lean. Okay, so 24 days out, so 3 weeks and a few days.
And we're about to weigh in. We're actually in the guest bathroom. I don't know if we definitely never weighed in here in the guest bathroom, but I don't want to wake Heidi, so I already woke up now and she's pissed. She keeps howling to go back into the room. So, here we go.
$171.6 pounds. So literally like, you know, 11, 12 pounds of difference. Maybe a bit more technically, because this is 24 days out instead of 21. So he might have, you know, cut a few pounds in those few days, because he goes pretty aggressive in the last few weeks, seemingly. So again, throughout this entire time frame, he has, from what I've seen, you know, stepped on stage in the 160s, like to be stage ready. He's shown up on competition day, you know, stepping on stage in the 160s. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that is accurate. Now, here he mentions how he is hoping to get down to like 179, 180 for this competition.
One thing I feel it needs to be said is that a lot of people that begin their fitness journey and begin their transformations, you don't see crazy, you don't start to see the crazy differences until you get to almost like the intermediate to expert level of your diet, quote unquote. You don't, like, it starts like this. You're losing weight, but you don't see any change. Literally 2 months out of the 60 days, out of the 82 days, I feel like I didn't see much at all, right? And if you start at a higher body fat than I started, or if you're starting your journey like further out, you know, you have to understand that it may be 4, 5, 6, 7 months before you really even see anything. And I think what kind of kept me, you know, one thing that keeps me going is knowing that I've done this before. And so I know that you kind of hit this point and then you start seeing it. And just like having faith, okay, May 18th, now you can see there's like lines, there's obliques, there's shoulder lines, there's some quad coming out, right? It's like, but you don't get to see that until you've already put in majority of the work. Now here to May 29th, this is the most recent updates. You can see just like, you can see in the face drastically, you can see in the haircut improvements, and you can really see in the back. Like now I'm getting to the point where you start seeing that little, my Christmas.
You can really see the development in the back that's come up. Like, look at these fucking rear delt boulders, my friend.
This tree's all fucked up. My Christmas tree's like not symmetrical. You start really seeing more and more change, and it's only going to get, for me, it's going to get crazier the next 2 weeks, right? And keep in mind, some of these clips are in the morning when I'm flat with like just some natural lighting. Some are like in the gym, pumped up, vascular. It's hot outside in Houston. It's like 100 degrees Fahrenheit right now, so like veins are coming out, and that's a different look. And any photo you see, any editing that you see, keep in mind, like, it's all angled. It's angles, it's color correction, it's sharpness, it's whatever that may be. Don't let it take away from the fact that, like, the bigger picture of this message I'm trying to say is that in that journey that you go through, the majority, the biggest chunk of it, you're almost seeing nothing. And then all of a sudden, boom, you start seeing, and then things start happening really quick and you start actually noticing. And that goes, like, though my 82 days of dieting, I think that's a total of what, like, started at 208 and then 182 is the lowest. So that's 26 pounds. 26 pounds in 82 days is a lot of weight to lose. That's a very fast pace. It's faster than I would recommend like anybody to really take it.
Yeah, so that's definitely worth touching on, because especially if you're on anabolics, this is something that has anti-catabolic actions. It's not just pro muscle protein synthesis in a surplus and builds all this new tissue. Above and beyond that, it also has interaction with the glucocorticoid receptors, as well as the androgen receptor interactions from a genomic and non-genomic perspective. There are other things going on in the body that contribute to the preservation of muscle tissue, psychoactive effects in the gym, myonuclei accrual, actual anti-catabolic processes, like I mentioned as well. These things all contribute to like a net result of greater like protein, nitrogen retention, protein accrual, and a relative, diminishment of muscle protein degradation, essentially, to a point where you can essentially maintain all of your tissue in a pretty steep deficit if you're on anabolics and you're not like way above your genetic baseline, essentially. So like with Christian, you definitely see this played out in this, hyper aggressive cut. Somehow he ends up like, 10, 11, 12 pounds heavier of lean mass. Like, it's definitely a suspect, like, red flag.
I would always recommend between 0.5 to 1.5 pounds a week is a great goal. And obviously, like, the more you have to lose, you can even, the 1 to 2 pounds per week is acceptable. And
that doesn't mean that you should crash diet if you're on anabolics either. I'm just saying that there's a reason why guys can get away with more when they're on androgens. And as far as if he's on androgens, let's continue the video and then kind of give a conclusive overview here.
Because of my timeline this year, because of when I chose to start prep and the show that I chose to do on June 18th, I had to get my shit together, right? And I have to go pretty aggressive. And that means high cardio, that means lower food, but I think it's paying off. I think that I'm happy with the physique I've achieved it's not that I've achieved in the 82 days though, it's that I've achieved through 15 years of lifting. And this is the first time, in 3 years of stepping on stage, that I've never allowed myself more than 7 to 8 months to actually bulk up. Because every single year from 2014 all the way through 2019, every year I would do a summer shredding series and I would do a competition, right? And so by allowing myself to stay in a surplus for a prolonged period of time, the benefit that you get compared to these shorter like spurts of a surplus, then you diet down, surplus and you diet down, surplus and you diet down. One, I think the proof is in the pudding. Like, literally, like, you're just able to stay saturated in that caloric surplus for longer. You're able to really truly like develop and build your strength and not have it fluctuate so much. And like that difference in time really does allow you to put more muscle on, more new tissue. Okay.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with that. Like, so many guys are quick to, right when the body fat creeps up, go back into a cut, and they just end up yo-yoing back and forth and never make any progress. But again, this guy's been lifting for so long. He's peaked so many fucking times. Like, I imagine the difference between him doing a bulk as a natural and then cutting down versus doing, you know, what he used to do, you know, what would it have been in terms of net accrued, like, new tissue at this point if he did it naturally? Like, I would say at best like another pound or two maybe, realistically. And I think even that might be a stretch given what his lifestyle has been like the past year. And that's not a knock necessarily. And maybe he was, you know, grinding his fucking face off, doing like a proper bulk in the shadows the whole time. He just wasn't documenting it. But I mean, like, just the perspective he gives from his, like, you know, work-life balance, it seems pretty unlikely that it would have been conducive at, you know, fucking a decade plus into lifting that you're going to suddenly pack on new muscle as a natural, you know, fucking years and years later after you've already peaked multiple times or seemingly, you know, hit your genetic limit essentially. And now all of a sudden new gains are coming when things are like more burdensome than ever from a lifestyle work perspective. So I don't know, like, like for me, I don't think he's trying to dance his way out of this because his title is literally My Anabolic 2-Month Transformation. Like, this is obvious foreshadowing in my opinion. But at the same time, I think he is trying to not downplay his hard work, which is totally reasonable because obviously regardless if you're on anabolics or not, it's fucking work, dude. You got to diet hard. You got to be in the gym lifting. You got to eat properly. You know, they will help significantly and take you up that extra notch. And I think this, to me, is pretty representative of like a pretty blatant example of before and after, like natural peaked versus natural takes the next step. All of a sudden, you know, a 10-pound lean gain in like, you know, a matter of like less than a year. It's very, very, you know, it's a massive red flag. You're seeing in real time, like the physical manifestation of like switching from presumably natural to, you know, the enhanced route. And I think this is, to be honest, like straight up represented in his results as we speak in real time during this cut.
Than if you were to just be going back and forth very, very frequently. So very happy with where we're at. We ain't fucking done though. We still have another 19 days to go and we're gonna tighten up even more. The plan is to get down to about 179 to 180.
There's at least, you know, like 10 pounds of lean gain accomplished here in a time frame where it was probably way more problematic to try and fit this into your routine. You know, years ago when he was still like multiple years deep into lifting and, you know, probably had this as a higher priority, you know, the content creation, the body composition changes, those were like the foundational infrastructures of his channel development. And what his content was based around was these, you know, cutting phases, these summer shredding events, these, as well as the building of his businesses. But now he has so much shit going on from a business entrepreneurial perspective. You know, it's a lot more. Not only would it be hard to wrap your head around this progress, even if his life literally revolved around it, but at this point too, factoring in all of those other variables, all of the time that is allocated to, you know, pulling all-nighters, you know, accomplishing the build of Alpha Land, you know, literally sleeping in the fucking office so we can get more work done, and then embarking on this cut and somehow ending up like 10 pounds lean mass more or more, if that was even grammatically correct way to fucking phrase that, you know what I mean? It's just highly unlikely that he did not use some shit in my opinion. And I think he's gonna be open about it. Perhaps he's just waiting until, you know, the tail end of this to really come out and say something. Cause again, this foreshadowing is like pretty fucking, like presumably you would not put this in the title if that was not the intention, to kind of elucidate like, yeah guys, like this is not actually natural. I predict he will address it, but we shall see.
This week, okay? That's a lot of weight. And from there, we're gonna just focus on peaking properly. So that's the plan.
Oh shit, he's trying to get to 179 this week. This week. So he has 19 days left. So I don't know, maybe he ends up in the 170s, you know, the mid 170s, and he's still like, you know, 10 pounds up from previous stage weights. But at the end of the day, like there is like double-digit amounts of lean mass being accrued here, seemingly.
Transformation, 82 days. Do something for yourself. It goes by so fucking quick. So just commit and do something for yourself and see that transformation, see it through. Don't get frustrated because it's not going to look like it's happening overnight. But I promise you, when you do just a little bit longer, then it's going to feel like it just happened overnight.
Okay, so again, the overarching conclusion of this, in my opinion, I speculate he is now on the sauce train, which is fine. You know, he can do what he wants. And this is not to discount any of the hard work or what goes into this, because he has done this, what I assume to be naturally, multiple times now. He is not an individual who, you know, jumped on gear on the first fucking, you know, cut and documented it and tried to lie about being natural or something. It seems like he is being forward about his transition. And he has talked about, you know, in detail his cuts in the past, his, you know, side effects he's endured when he was at single digit body fat, you know, I think he's talked about ED and, you know, like low sex drive and all of these things. Like, he's been pretty transparent from what I've seen, at least from day one of the inception of his channel. Again, I don't follow closely enough to know for certain that he has not, you know, I don't know, lied about certain shit, but from what I've seen, he's being transparent enough with this sort of, I don't know, foreshadowing, in that if he does come out and talk about it, I imagine he will at some point, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think he's trying to hide it. I think he is dancing around it intentionally right now, but not in like a misleading or disingenuous way. Seemingly, I think he will probably be addressing it at some point. He is just, you know, teeing it up and getting the, you know, the people talking, and I think it's working. If you look at the comment sections of his videos or his pictures and shit and his reels. Here, comment section, more transparency would be nice, brother. You are like a knight who uses a sword in battle but tells the village he won the fight with his bare hands. More plates, more dates, tagged. Fire, fire, fire. Injection emoji, injection emoji, injection emoji. Let's see what the comments are like here. You're a casual. Literally put anabolic in the title. You are if you think that's natural. Based. Why not? LOL. Fucking panting, smiling, laughing. It's been years since he hasn't added the natural word to any of his posts or videos. He never lies, so go hate on another place. He's like 185 with like 17 or 18 inch arms, and people think he couldn't be natty because he's got nice abs, I guess. LOL. It's not because he has nice abs. Most of these fitness influencers are on something. Not to take anything away from them though. Christian still has a crazy physique. So, again, it has nothing to do with if you think the physique or weight, like I guess there is some metric of that where it's like, is this an achievable metric at all? And I think, you know, in the mid 170s, stage ready is feasible as a natural for guys with good genetics for sure. But ultimately the way it looks, you know, the muscle bellies, the inserts, the individual's genetics, how much weight they can fucking pack on. Everyone has their own predispositions, their own response to gear, their own response to training. And for him, from what I've seen, this seems to be, you know, a threshold whereby I imagine he did use something to get there. And that's not, again, to be like, oh, you only ended up in the 170s, and that's like bad because you're on gear. Like, it's, you know, for him, it's a choice. And ultimately, this is what he has deemed seemingly, again, I'm speculating, appropriate at this point to keep making progress. Probably sick of, you know, cycling back and forth, no pun intended, between, you know, like natural gaining weight and then natural cutting back down to the 160s. Probably wanted to make a statement and, you know, make it more interesting for himself and actually make some like significant progress after being stagnant for a while. Years realistically. And yeah, when you see a new profile picture come up, like obviously you must be pretty happy with your progress to replace what was previously like one of your bests, in my opinion. Here he is in natural lighting again, just drinking his cup of coffee, looking fucking X-framed, bro. Just sipping, enjoying the you know, the juicy progress, bro. Sunday feels. Let's see. This is quite the side try. Looking mean. Jacked. Yes, bro. Looking sick. Best package to date. Not shredded enough, bro. Keep going, though. Yeah, you're fucking fat, bro. Keep going. Of course, that is not good enough. But yeah, anyways, the guy is definitely stepped it up. And, you know, whether you want to attribute that just to hard work or gear or what, I feel like the idea is he's trying to be inspirational and not, you know, attribute it all to one thing that could, you know, discount the hard work. And that's where the real transparency and understanding of how the shit works come into play. And yes, you can get away with more when you're on gear and you can get away with things you wouldn't have otherwise, but ultimately getting shredded is still a fucking hard, arduous, like goddamn process, you know, dieting down aggressively, getting shredded, you know, even if you're on gear, trend is not going to save you, you know, it's not going to shred body fat off you to a point where you don't need to do your cardio, you don't need to go into a deep deficit, etc. And, you know, anybody who tells you otherwise probably hasn't gotten that lean. You know, the guys who always say, oh, growth hormone makes you literally cannot gain fat, or guys who are on trend, you cannot gain fat. Like, Yeah, you fucking can, dude. It's not that hard. Seriously, you can gain fat quite easily on these drugs. That's not to say it's not easier to get in shape, but it's still fucking hard work. And ultimately, you're trying to end up at a higher body weight with more lean mass and then show the results of that lean mass accrual. It's still proportionally hard fucking work nonetheless. So anyways, it's interesting to see him, grind his way to 1 million. He's finally almost there. It feels long overdue at this point. Like I said, he's one of the vets of this fitness industry. And I think he is, juicy now. And I don't know what he was like previous years as far as he was juicy. Like, it just seems like seemingly the progress has really skyrocketed over the past year until like during this prep specifically. So I imagine this was probably a new phenomenon rather than people saying, I haven't seen Natural in his titles for a while now. Like, this kind of a jump when you are not really doing anything significantly different than you have in the past, regardless if you added an extra few months of your bulk as a natural, like, it does not account for fucking, 10 to 12 pounds of lean mass. So when you're like a genetically peaked individual, essentially. So anyways, that is my stance. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Check out Christian's stuff on YouTube as well as on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram as well. You can subscribe here, like the video, comment for the algorithm. It's much appreciated. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My preventative medicine and hormone replacement therapy platform, regardless if you're natural, enhanced, HRT, no HRT, whatever it is. We do it all. We're turnkey, and we work to optimize quality of life, biomarker assessments, balancing of hormones. And this is, again, not just from a hormone management standpoint through exogenous pharmacology, but also through natural interventions. We are one of the only platforms I'm aware of that has you get connected to high quality doctors who are mindful of the fact that not everyone wants to haphazardly get thrown on exogenous hormones for their entire lives. We want you to optimize your metrics through lifestyle interventions, dietary manipulation, sleep hygiene practices, etc. And we will outline that stuff in consultations and whatnot, and evaluate your biomarkers and diagnostics with elaborate detail and give you more insight into your quality of life and where you may be deficient, and areas that require addressing to maximize things from a mental clarity aspect, from a body composition aspect. So many different things that we address that I think go overlooked, genetic predispositions, etc. And especially if you're an enhanced bodybuilder who's trying to attenuate your risk, having a high quality doctor in your camp, cannot overstate the importance of that enough, or just individuals trying to optimize their health and vitality. Very fucking important to have a high quality team on your side. So that is something I pride myself in, offering that service to the public, people who represent the same quality of information I do, having high quality doctors and providers on staff, and try to stay on the cutting edge when it comes to endocrinology, pharmacology, biology, etc. So you can check that out, as well as if you just want self-service labs. We have the most efficient, cost-effective and easiest to work with lab builder, where you can literally add singular biomarkers to your cart and check out, even with high sensitivity testing. I haven't really seen any other labs that offer this. Usually they force you to get like a $700 panel just to get like a total T with LCMS and a free T with equilibrium dialysis, etc. We not only have panels that have been approved by me, that you can get as like turnkey ready to go panels, but in addition to that, singular biomarkers you can buy separately, high levels of sensitivity too, and very obscure markers that you probably did not know have greater importance for things like lipid parameters, for things like inflammation, cardiovascular disease risk, cancer development, etc. So you can check that out, as well as anything else I'm associated with in the video description below. Talk to you guys soon.